I don't know about you, but I feel like I've got a bit of disillusionment with the whole medical system in many ways because
Yeah.
of the kind of experience I had with it, and I kind of take an attitude now of more whilst I get things checked out, I try and just do a lot
Yeah.
of stuff myself. I don't know what your opinion is.
I think I'm really lucky because my work has we have like in-house private GPs,
Okay.
and I had private health insurance through work, which means that I am in like a very lucky minority of people who I managed to get my diagnosis pretty quickly. It was kind of confirmed May last year, and my main symptoms first started in September
Hmm.
the year before. So it was less than a year to get my diagnosis, which I feel is reasonably quick.
Hmm.
And I was sent to a lot of specialists quite quickly. Having said that, it was me who had to push for the referral to a like long COVID specialist. The GPs were happy to kind of sign me off work and say like, yeah, something's clearly not right, but they just thought it was mental health because I was really struggling with the kind of depression and mood swings and anxiety, which were brought on at the same time as the fatigue and
Yeah.
the stomach symptoms. And they kind of just thought it was depression, and I just knew something was wrong. I just knew that something was
Yeah.
wrong in my body and it wasn't normal. And so I really had to push, and I found out from my dad who the long COVID person was, and basically said like, I need to see him.
Hmm.
I need to get some answers. And from seeing him, I then managed to get a few other referrals, which got my kind of POTS diagnosis, the long COVID diagnosis. I had lots of heart checks, ECGs, all of that, lung function tests and all of that. And so that was when I actually started to get taken a bit more seriously, as like not just fatigue and depression, but actually long COVID is something that is affecting your breathing and your
Hmm.
heart and like your brain as well. And so that for me was quite validating. And so I was very lucky in that sense. But then I see stories online of people who are having to wait months and months just to see the specialist who's going to supposedly help them, and then the specialist can't do anything. And that is just heartbreaking, because we are, as a kind of group of unwell people, clinging on to any kind of help the medical community can give. And so when you're just dismissed because they don't have the answers or they don't have the tests at their disposal, it's really hard to take, because you just feel like you're kind of in a dark hole. Like, no one cares about me, no one understands what
Hmm.
I'm going through. How am I ever going to get better?
I think this is a real key reason why we need to start finding answers and start
Hmm.
finding, just try and find answers about this. Because if we also take into consideration that, I mean, like you said, you're grateful that you actually managed to get a GP
Yeah.
appointment, and yet it was still incredibly frustrating, still incredibly difficult, still incredibly alienating.
Hmm.
But then we think, because if we extrapolate the effects of long COVID and ME/CFS, not just to Western countries across Europe and across
Hmm.
the US, we think this is an issue in Sudan, this is an issue in
No.
Yemen, this is an issue in
Hmm.
Libya. And it does make you think we need to start finding
Yeah.
answers to help both not only people here,
Hmm.
because we know how debilitating it is when you're in a
Yeah.
Western and really blessed situation.
Yeah.
And we need to start finding answers to be able to help everyone all the way across the board.
Yeah. It's difficult. And I can't remember, there was an article maybe about 9 months ago, which was talking about that exact kind of point, which is that if we're struggling in countries where we supposedly have, really supportive healthcare systems, then
Yeah.
how on earth are people in other countries where long COVID isn't even really known about at all? Like, how on earth are they coping? And that really kind of struck a nerve with me. And it wasn't really one of the main reasons why I set up my own Instagram account, but it was that kind of awareness raising and wanting people to really know what it was. I found that speaking to friends or family, I'd say, oh, I have long COVID. And they'd say like, oh, what is that? Just being really tired. You're like, no, It's so much more than that. And this is a problem. People don't know what it is. And we need people to talk about it. We need people to know what it is so that there's more incentive for investment, research, like funding, that kind of thing. Because unless people realize the scale of the issue and how it will affect the economy, having so many people out of work, I just don't, we need people to know about it so that we get investment. Like, I just don't understand how we don't have answers yet, and we really do need them. And I feel like it's a really interesting area of science as well. And solving long COVID will hopefully really help those with ME, which as well is a huge economic problem, because if you have all of these people out of work who are constantly requiring referrals for us in the UK, the NHS, where actually if there's something else that could cure them rather than just sending them to all of the different departments, I just think it would be a huge breakthrough.
Have you seen the Cutler Report, which estimated the financial impact of long COVID?
No, I haven't.
So I think they estimated the financial impact to be $3.1 trillion globally. At the moment, globally. Or potentially was that even just the US? Either way, it's quite a big number. It's a big number.
Global, but
yeah. And it was really, again, talking about the scale of the problem that will lead going forward. We see in the UK even, we see the disability rates and the number of people out of work rising. And there's a number of proposals and hypotheses put forward as to why that's happening. I saw one recently about back pain from working at home too much being one of the ones that so many people are off work. And I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, definitely. But you see it sharply increase after COVID.
Interesting.
And I think the sympathy part only goes so far.
Yeah.
And I really think playing the economic impact, the financial impact, is one of the strongest routes we can attack to get progress and to get interest into the area. Because at the end of the day, people are generally sympathetic, but when presented with this will affect this about the economy, this will affect this about GDP, etc., that I think is how you really, unfortunately, get through to the people who matter.